Streaming live from the PDP Digital Media Team studio. Our guest today is Mr. Chris Osa Nehikhare. He is the Publicity Secretary of Edo State People's Democratic Party, PDP, and Chairman Media and Publicity Sub-Committee of Edo PDP Campaign Council. He will be speaking on the importance of the re-election of Governor Godwin Obaseki and other sundry issues. Chris, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So good to have you.
Thank you.
Now, what do you make of the political intrigues that have trailed 2020 governorship election? What would you say have changed since the last election?
Well, I think what has changed really, it's the integrity of the personalities involved in this election. Not just the candidates, but those that are propelling and selling their candidates for Edo people to decide on who to go with. Now we have people on one side that 4 years ago sold the narrative to Edo people. And on this side now, we are this year, these same people are selling another narrative even of the same candidates. But Edo people are wiser now. They intend to vote for those they know and those they trust. They reach that decision by themselves without being propelled by narratives being peddled. And choosing the person for their choice is I'm marking the achievements, the projects, the things that have been done by the candidates. And on this side of the divide, we have Governor Godwin Obaseki, who has, against all odds, even when he was being harassed, bullied, intimidated, chased, it was focused in providing the dividend of democracy, providing development for Edo people. These are the things that matter in this election, and our duty is to let Edo people know, let Nigerians know that the best person for the job in 2020 is Governor Godwin Obaseki. That's where we are today.
You have just told us what has changed since the last election. What about the intrigues that are trailing this election?
The intrigues are normal. These are things that happen in every election cycle. People come up with all different kinds of stories to try and gain an advantage. That is normal. And politicians know it's normal. The Edo electorate, which is one of the most sophisticated electorates in Nigeria, they know it's normal, and they cannot be fooled by narratives that come out, especially from APC at this point in time, trying to sell a brand that was rejected. Not just their candidate that was rejected in 2016, but even the brand is selling. The simple agenda was rejected then. It's a content that has no content. So the people cannot be fooled, no matter how they try to package it.
Now, the candidate of the All Progressives Congress used to be a member of the PDP. And why is the PDP not bothered that he would compromise its structure in the upcoming election?
He used to be a member of the APC before coming to PDP and back to APC again. These are political nomads. When nomads go, they bring 50 people. When they are going back to where they come from, the 50 is not complete. So I don't think he has left with everybody he came to PDP with. He has left with the few that have their ambition tied to his ambition, that have their lives tied to his ambition. We are not bothered about that because apart from our structure being reorganized, I'm sure you are aware that we had a Congress in March this year where a new state chairman emerged and a new executive from the world level all the way to the state level emerged. So the system now in PDP is a new system. Yes, the faces might be the same, but there's been a juggle, a new thinking, a new arrogance, a new love for Edo people, because we are arrogant being Edo people, because we love the way Edo people do their things. And so we are not bothered when you say the candidate left PDP. Yes, he left PDP. And went to where? APC, a party that has been rejected by Edo people even when they were in government. And the only person that made APC to tick, that was the center of APC, the center of gravity of Governor Obaseki, he left that party and left it in tatters. I can tell you for free, the APC structure from the world to the state level is a complete tatters. It doesn't exist. It only exists in the campaign headquarters of the candidate of APC. There's nowhere else APC exists.
When you say he left it in tatters, was it that he was the one that was responsible for the party being in tatters?
No. Is leaving the party crumbled the party.
Okay.
Because he was the one that was the glue. He was the center of attraction. He was the one that made Edo people even consider APC.
Okay.
But as soon as he left that party, there was no more attraction to any reasonable Edo person.
Good.
What you have are the politicians that are desperate to have their hands in the till of Edo State government. What you have are politicians that want to feed off Edo people all the time, but have nothing to offer to Edo people. That is what you have left in APC. It's less than 0.2% of Edo State population. Majority of Edo people, the electorate, those that matter, those the governor is working for, those he is here for, they are more than 99.008%. They are the ones going to determine the election, going to determine who runs the state, not the few who today call themselves lions and tigers, not those few, but the Edo people who are the hunters that will hunt down and decimate those lions and tigers.
Talking about the election, what are the bottlenecks that you envisage in this election?
Transparency, fairness, from INEC especially, and to some extent the security agencies. If everybody plays fair, their cards on project design, implementation, and project delivery. We saw all those things as time went on, and then he answered us back by providing those deliverables. And so by the time he joined PDP, it was like a hand in glove, perfect match. A party that was ready to serve Edo people, do all the things to make Edo great, was now being led by a man that has already decided to work in that same stead, building a viral economy for Edo State, building a disciplined financial model for Edo State, and having the people that believe in his government. With all this, with this mix, in this matrix, PDP got a very good candidate, and Edo people should be proud that they have a man like this at this point in time, ready to go forward to build a stronger state. Don't forget, he said his vision economic hub of West Africa, that he will achieve in the next 4 years.
You're a member of PDP.
Yes.
And were you people envisaging, was PDP envisaging that the governor was going to, move over to their party? We are asking this because of the way he was received with open arms.
Oh no, we're not envisaging him to come to our party at all. We're not. We wanted one of our own, what we call one of our own, to be the candidate because we had drawn up a beautiful roadmap. Maybe part of it taken from his style. But as God will have it, the people that had him rejected him. They pushed him off. Even while we were still negotiating whether he should come or not come, we got a lot of calls from prominent Edo people, eminent people, senior citizens, statesmen from Edo State, putting pressure on PDP that you must accept this man, you must give him the platform to run. And only an irresponsible political party will reject the voices of these eminent people that have ruled the state one time or the other, led the state and have reached the pinnacle of their careers. Only an irresponsible child will refuse a request from these people. And then the party talked to his candidates or his aspirants. They agreed, and like I said, just like hand in glove, the governor came in and we've been flowing since then. It's made life so much easier for Edo people to have somebody in a platform that they can trust and somebody that they can trust coming together to lead a new Edo State.
Talking about financial prudence, what would you say are the similarities and differences between this administration and the last administration?
Oh, there's so much. This government, I can tell you for free, has been very careful of how it uses state resources. I'm sure you recall that in the last dispensation, the governor then used the state resources as if it was personal income. As if it was a private business, not even a public, private business, like a sole trader, dispensing favor, right, left, and center. Those that were collecting resources of the state, that should only come to the state, he gave it to them for free for them to put in their pockets, to the extent that Agberus were celebrating $1 billion, celebrating billionaires, making those who are hardworking, those who have gone to school, not to have confidence in the education they have attained. This government has been very careful the way resources have been spent. First of all, it redesigned the tax collection system to make sure that what is taken from the people goes to government and is used for the people. And then it is collected in a civilized and humble manner, not with whips, not with chains. Technically, he unlocked the chains with which Edo people, Governor Obaseki unlocked the chains with which Edo people were chained for 8 years between 2008 and 2016. And we owe him that.
All right, please, if you want to join us on this program, you can call us on 0905-170-2571. 0905-170-2571. That is the number to call. When we come back, we are going to be taking a look at the violence in the election and how PDP is planning to mitigate this violence. Please stay with us.
This another comprehensive project by the Obaseki-led government. It started in June, and 1st of June to be precise, 2018. The entire project covers about 70 hectares. At the moment, 3 hectares have been built upon with about 68 houses already sold out, and a comprehensive road network divided into 2 parts: the service lanes and the dual carriageway that runs across the entire prospect. This is phase 1, about 3 hectares. The phase 2 is on the other side, about 3 hectares as well. Everything here is 6 hectares. So we have balance of 64 hectares to go. One of the houses has 2 apartments, 3 bedrooms each, which we refer to as the twin apartments. And there are 8 buildings of such. In a few days' time, the second phase will commence in earnest. The road project, as I said, is ongoing, and you can see the machines working in earnest. I wish to also say that this project has given a lot of jobs to many Edo citizens, both the skilled and unskilled workers.
My name is Obi Choma. I've been working here in this Immortal Garden Estate past 2 years and now. Ever since I've been working here, my salary, even before month end, I received my salary. I'm very, very happy. If you look around this Edo State, especially in this upper now, this area, I know how this area was before, you know. It, because of the work of Obaseki, this estate, Immortal Garden Estate now, you can come around this area. You cannot be afraid of anything because of this Immortal Garden Estate here. Obaseki have given us securities everywhere. Now, we are proud of him.
You're welcome back. Chris Nehikhare is the Publicity Secretary of Edo State PDP and, of course, the Chairman, Media and Publicity Sub-Committee, Edo PDP Campaign Council. Now, Chris, what do you make of the complaints regarding electoral violence in the state?
It's most embarrassing, and I condemn it in all totality. When these issues came up of violence, I think they were trying to drag us to an area that we didn't want to go to. But by the time we discovered that their aim really was to have the elections postponed for some sinister reason, because they knew they were going to lose the election, then we have to now come out to tell other people not to be intimidated, not to be scared. The state government and the Nigerian security agencies will take care of anything. We encourage all Edo people to come out on that day to vote. Violence is just a scare tactics which they have developed to scare Edo people. Technically, Edo has always been a peaceful state. We've not had violence during elections prior to now. Pre-elections like this, there's always talk of tension, heat, and especially, I think what actually triggered this issue of violence was a video that went viral of the candidate of APC being introduced to people that call themselves lions and tigers. And he telling them, some of you are so dangerous. You can move from local government to local government, ward to ward, unit to unit, to disrupt election when the law is clear that on election day you are restricted to your units. So that was what gave rise to this tension of violence. But we now know where they are going to, and we reject it, and we encourage other people to also reject it, and make sure that the only thing that will of violence on that day will be them using their PVC to send APC back to the drawing board.
Okay. So how is the party working to stem cases of rigging and violence on election day?
The rigging, I think that is always a plan being asked by APC. They have a history of that. Look at Kogi, look at Osun. But unfortunately in Edo, we are the most sophisticated voters. We have the most sophisticated electorate. And for that reason, it should be difficult for anyone to think they will use a template we discovered recently we're planning to use, what they call the Uzodima template.
Yeah.
That template will fail, and the party and Edo people will resist it, that APC will have no way to go. So we are not worried about that right now, because we have the support and the followership in Edo people who are determined to retain Obaseki as our governor and send APC to the drawing board.
But there is this fear in the minds of the people, and this may make them not to come out on election day.
We have told them, and we believe they know that they have to come out. There is nothing for them to fear. Anybody that plans violence will be dealt with by the law. Anybody that is seen with arms will be dealt with by the law. Anybody that moves around from ward to ward or unit to unit on election day will be dealt with by the law. They have no reason whatsoever to fear. The election will be peaceful, and PDP and Edo people will win that election.
So what are the major concerns for the PDP aside electoral violence, and how do you plan to mitigate them?
The major concern really is in the hands of the operators, INEC. They have to be fair, they have to be transparent, and they have to do things in a professional manner. And then involvement, interference from outside forces, especially our security agencies. You know, we've been hearing this in federal might, federal might, federal might. These things have to be quelled and make sure it doesn't happen, not just by the federal government, but by all Nigerians. We have to condemn it. We have to condemn it. We do not want a situation where our elections is more deadly than even the coup that took place in Mali a few days ago. All
right, so if you want to join us, maybe rather than send an SMS, please, you can call us on 0905-170-2571. 0905-170-2571. Now, Chris, the APC candidate and his running mate have legal pitfalls that may invalidate their candidacy. How do you intend to leverage on this for your benefit?
Well, the cases are in court. But what we want to do is to make sure they are defeated fairly and squarely September 19th, even before the courts decide on their fate. Technically, we are all aware that APC does not have a candidate. This chairman of APC went out publicly to say he is not aware of any primaries, he doesn't have a candidate. Then the national chairman at the time was acting of the APC after the Soshone was kicked out unceremoniously. That national chairman also said he was not aware of APC candidature. So technically we can say Pastor Sage Zayamo is an impostor right now, because the APC as a party, the organs that were in charge at the time he claimed he was the candidate, have all denied him. But we are not counting on that. What we are counting on is the support of the Edo people. The number of PVCs in Edo State that's going to be used to determine and nail the final coffin on APC on September 19th.
Saying that APC does not have a candidate, are you talking as the publicity secretary of PDP, or you are talking as an ordinary Edo person?
I'm talking as an ordinary Edo person. It is obvious, it is there, it's in the public domain. These things were made public by APC themselves. I'm sure you are aware that APC is fractioned into so many factions. There's a group that call themselves APM, there's a group that call themselves APC, and there's a group that call themselves POI. These many factions are the ones, and one of these factions have taken over APC. Their secretariat in Edo, I'm sure you know where it is. You will not see any activity, there is nothing going on there because APC doesn't have a candidate. Where you see people is the POI faction office on Etete Road. Even the EPM has been emasculated. So right now, we are just doing this campaign to fulfill all righteousness because we know, and the people know, that APC is encumbered.
Now, what would you say about the word-to-word campaign embarked upon by Governor Godwin Obaseki as opposed to the local government campaign?
I think one word, excellent. You see, this word-to-word campaign has shown us that Edo people are determined to return Obaseki. We are meeting the communities, meeting the people in their backyard, in their communities, and the response has been excellent. And don't also forget, because of the peculiarity of the situation of this time, the COVID-19, which the governor and the PDP is very passionate about, because the health of the electorate is very important to us. We decided to have a campaign where we do not want too much crowd in a small enclosed environment. And that is why we embarked on this word-to-word so that we can reach the people. The fewer people in their backyard, the better. However, whenever the campaign starts, the governor has been clear that each campaign, at every campaign stop, is started with talking about how to prevent the spread of COVID-19 because he's passionate about it. We want the electorate to be healthy and safe for us so that they can vote against APC, vote for us on September 19th. It tells them, wear your face mask. If you notice, he's on his face mask all the time. Not just him, all the PDP people there are on their face mask. It tells them, wash your hands and maintain safe social distancing. Face masks are provided at the campaign stops. Sanitizers also provided to help the people. But as the campaign went on, the enthusiasm of the people kept increasing the number of people coming to these campaign stops. It was unbelievable. They became uncontrollable. But as we kept repeating to them, do the needful to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Always wash your hand. We kept encouraging and telling them this thing, even before we start telling them of our achievements at every stop. That's done. And also don't forget, going to the communities also exposes us to areas we may not have visited in the course of the 3 years, 3.5 years government was in power. And you'll see new things. And that is why we're able to identify communities where the roads have been abandoned for so many years, even though the book said other things. It's amazing that we had a governor for 8 years, which some of these books said some of these roads have been taken care of, especially in a place like Okbela. The book said these roads have been taken care of, but our governor, Obaseki, was shocked because he went through that road and deliberately, he went through that road and discovered that this road, what we had on paper, is not what was on the ground. And he promised the people he will solve that problem as soon as he's re-elected. And he apologized to them that because this government is a continuum. He apologized on behalf of the last government that told a lie that those roads were fixed.
During the, at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, when a lot of states were shutting down completely, Edo State was partially opened. And the governor was criticized, heavily criticized by a lot of people, mainly from the opposition at that time, PDP. Now, if you were to talk about the way the governor handled the COVID-19 at that time by not shutting down Edo State completely, maybe due to some economic reasons, what would you say? Would you say he handled it perfectly well?
In
all honesty, in all honesty, yes.
In all honesty, I think PDP, myself especially, jumped the gun because we saw what was happening, the model being used by other states and other countries. We expected the governor to use that model for our safety, and that is why we criticized him for what he did.
What was the model?
Shutting down completely, lockdown, lockdown, lockdown. But the governor took time to explain to us, to Edo people and to PDP at that time, that it was doing this for so reason. And he gave reasons, and he gave conditions upon which we can move around. So not at the same time, it did not collapse the economy. And you know, technically Nigeria is in recession now, and other countries of the world are in recession because of the way they shut down. But Edo State economy managed to keep grinding on because of the style he used. I think we owe him a thank you for keeping the economy going, for keeping the people safe by telling them what to do, setting up and testing over 500,000 Edo people. Not testing, screening over 500,000 Edo people in a short period of time to make sure that this COVID is contained. You know, the governor did all the right things, but we were quick to jump the gun, and I think it was right and we were wrong at that time.
Okay. Now, what is the relationship between the bona fide PDP members and those that have defected from APC to come with the governor to join you in PDP?
There's no bona fide PDP member.
You're sure you're not boxing them?
Once you join PDP, you are entitled to the rights and benefits of PDP from the minute you take a PDP card. So today we don't know who is bona fide or aborigine or real or fake. There's one PDP. And that is the beauty of our party. It has been consistent in the way it handles people that come into the party right from time. We do not discriminate. We do not say you are new or you are old. Once you are PDP, you are PDP. So the relationship, and the most amazing thing, don't also forget, most of these political parties, their DNA is from PDP. Offshoots of PDP, most of the political parties. And so anybody coming back to join PDP is like coming back home. He's coming back to his father's house. He knows this. He knows the size of his bedroom. He knows where his bedroom is. It fits in perfectly. And our aim right now is to make sure we deliver Governor Obaseki on September 19th from across the 192 wards in the state.
So what do you make of the controversy over the Edo Modular Refinery and the APCs rambling about it?
APC is belly aching over, you know, their national chairman, the man they call the Rock, Oshomole, who is also the albatross for, you know, went on national television to say there was nothing like that. And when the whole world can see that that refinery exists and is about to start refining crude oil. The controversy is an embarrassment to the people of APC. I don't know why they keep repeating it and keep talking about it. It is clear that it is cited in Edo State. It is clear that the governor attracted the investors. It is clear that the Edo State government provided land. It is also clear that the Edo State government provided 700 million for as part of the funding for that refinery. It's also clear that Edo people are employed to work in that refinery. What else do they want? What else do they want? They are having sleepless nights because they think the governor cannot take credit for this. They don't want people to believe it. You know, all they be saying, governor did nothing, the government did nothing. Now that the projects are coming up, people are seeing it. More power plants, the modular refinery, the technical college, the Rose Lady Godegele, the plantation in Ronigbe, College of Education.
We're actually coming to the projects.
When they see all these things, they know that their election is lost. And so they have to now start telling a lie to say it doesn't belong to Edo State government. And then tomorrow they'll shift ground. And Edo State government only contributed little. The bottom line is Edo State government, Governor Obaseki, provided and is the custodian of what is happening in Ologbo today for that refinery. And it should be applauded, and Edo people should thank him for it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we are still chatting on the program. When we come back, we are going to be taking a look at some of the projects, and Mr. Chris is going to give us a chronological analysis of these projects. Please stay with us.
So my name is Tommy Asemuta, Chief Executive, Not Limited, the furniture manufacturing company. I want to commend the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, for his tremendous help in reviving our factory. Our factory was closed down for about 4 years. The governor visited the factory while I was away in Switzerland. For more than 40 years that our factory has been running, we have never gotten any visit nor patronage from any government. I was later told he's sort of taking a statistics of the industry that exists in Edo State. And that's why he came to my place. He went on to say that he will provide jobs to keep the factory running again in order to create employment and also to empower people by training them in the furniture business. I was quite surprised and filled with joy that such a person would have so much love for the state. So I thank him for giving my wife and I the privilege of realizing our dream, providing job for our people. That was our dream. Keeping to his words, the governor helped to reopen our factory. He provided job for my company and 5 other companies to produce and supply furniture across offices in Edo State. And payment for this job were made to us as and when due. He also made provision for trainees who are interested in the furniture business. These trainees were being paid 20,000 naira monthly. In addition to this, working tools were provided for the trainee. An amount was also set aside for them to set up their workshops after the completion of their training. This action of the governor is unprecedented in the history of this country. My wish is that the governor be allowed to govern Edo State for another 4 years, so as to continue building the good legacy and foundation which he started in his first term. And that is why, please, I say, give Governor Obaseki the opportunity to continue the good foundation he has started.
The gathering you are seeing today is the local government, lions and the tigers. We show our excellency, incoming excellency, that with the soldier we are not relenting. Our candidates that will emerge in 2020 general election, Pastor Osage Zayamu.
Your influence goes beyond one polling unit. Yes. You will do your unit, you will move to other units. In fact, you will even move to other wards. And some of you are so dangerous, you will move to other local governments. I tell you, this election will be Operation Show Your Result. Operation Show Your Result. And that operation, we can tell you the truth. Now many of you go favor. Amen. Because what you now fit do, many big men don't fit do.
Why do I put Obaseki stickers on my vehicle? I mean, is it a problem? Is it a crime to Edo State for putting stickers? You say, what am I talking before I know they started damaging my car? One of them dropped a pistol. He said, if I talk more than you will just shot me and they will run away. I said, for what? Key. When? Just today.
Can you imagine? Just before the man asked God, the Obaseki sticker in his vehicle. This is how they want to win election.
Look at the damage they did with my vehicle. Just look at the damage. I'm just driving on my own. I was driving on my own. When they identified me as a PDP woman because of the cloth I was wearing, they said this one a PDP, this one a PDP. Before you know it, they just use a big stone to slash the windscreen of the vehicle.
We understand that the opposition party has now resorted to violence. Please, 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 we do not want bloodshed. A billionaire, one of their billionaire people hired a lot of thugs today around the Oba's palace. And I hear they are busy destroying cars with PDP flags. Do not retaliate. God will retaliate for us. What they are trying to do is to scare the people. They are saying that what they did today is a sample of what they want to do on September 19th. We left them because of their lawlessness. We will not, no matter how provoked, resort to the same.
By the special grace of God, who reads the heart, who knows the heart of man, who knows the past and the future, who knows the beginning and the end. He sees what we don't see. He knows what we don't know. He knows that Godwin, he has been part of the tradition. He knows the vision. He knows the mission. He knows the target. He knows where we are. He knows the challenges, and he knows how to overcome them. To deliver all that he has promised, he will do. I pray, even now, nothing should excite me as to look at God and lie to my people. And I declare as follows before God, that the other guy, Mr. AJ Yamu, he has a very interesting lifestyle. For 2 years, they drive him from school. Why? He carry acid and pour on the body of another student. Today, that student is deformed for life. Today, he cannot raise a family. That is his credentials, and that is why he could not go to law school. If you are not a professional, die-hard, pathological liar who says God will not win, even they can say so, God must win. God must win. Let any one man living raise his hand and say, no, God will not win. You know what finish? God must win. God must win. God must win.
Yeah, welcome back to the program. Now, Chris, you know, when one says PDP, it is not unusual to hear somebody responding by saying, share the money. Now, you have said that Governor Obaseki is very prudent with Edo State resources. If he now comes on board and as a PDP governor and he doesn't share the money, how would you feel?
You see, that narrative is expired. The narrative actually right now actually belongs to APC. You know that Governor Obaseki was hounded out of APC because he refused to share the money. He refused to put money in the pockets of the politicians, but instead to put money for projects for Edo people to see. And that is why they hounded him, is that he does not take care of politicians. In PDP, we've been in opposition in Edo State since 2008. That narrative and that stigma has been cleansed from our system. What you have today is a new, improved, re-engineered set of people running the affairs of PDP and its membership. Any political party that stays in opposition for 12 years and was able to stand their own for 12 years, even when they did not have the center, you know that party is ready and committed to the development and growth of Edo people. You know that party is in existence by the grace of Edo people. And you know that party is made up of men of integrity and transparency. And that is what PDP is. And that is why Obaseki is able to fit in perfectly, because his philosophy of having resources used for the development and growth of Edo State matches with the PDP of today. A PDP that was built and developed by us. Those of us who did not hear of our names between 1999 and 2007. But those people who are used to being in government consistently and that brought that stigma, shared the money, they are the ones today running on the other side. They're the ones today on the affairs, having been in leadership position of APC. I'm sure you know that in 2000, between 1999 and 2007, even though I was in PDP, I was in the background. I became prominent within PDP after we went into opposition, because I decided that I wanted to build a party, grow a party that is not only integrity-wise, but built for the purpose of developing people, developing our city. I live here. My children, my family lives here. I grew up here. And for us to be able to have a strong and virile party and a good state, for us to call a good state, a party that is ready to sacrifice for the people must be evolved. And that's where PDP has evolved from. And that's why the governor is able to feel very free within PDP. PDP doesn't share the money. PDP asks for development. PDP wants a strong state. PDP wants happy Edo people. That's what PDP is today.
Now, you are an Edo man, aside the fact that you are a member of PDP, and you have been in Edo for a very long time now. Now, let's take a look at the last 3 years and 8 months, or 9 months, thereabout. We want you to give us a chronological analysis of some of the projects, or most of the major projects that you think Obaseki has done in Edo State.
It's actually very difficult to do that right now, because when I was going to come here, I knew you were going to ask that question, and I didn't want to bring a book the size of a dictionary.
Why didn't you?
Oh, no, because there was no time. So what I did is just list a few on a piece of paper. And this few, if I go into details, we might be here till 2 a.m. But I'll just talk about the simple things for Edo people, Nigerians, to actually know.
Why don't you try us with the details?
Well, let me start with the reforms. 2 or 3 main areas that reforms have taken place in the judiciary.
Sorry to cut you short. Yes, you know, a few people have actually been trying to call us via WhatsApp. Please call us direct. We don't want to pick WhatsApp calls because the network is not too good for WhatsApp, please. So you can call us direct, 0905-170-2571, 0905-170-2571. And of course, at the end of this program, we are going to have to read out a few comments. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, I'm talking about the reforms in the judiciary, pensions reform, and the civil service reforms. These reforms is to have an efficient society, an efficient government, and an efficient city. In the judiciary, I'm sure if you drive towards the Saple Road area today, you will see that for the first time in many, many years, the High Court has a new look. Not just a new look, it has been equipped with modern communications to enhance the efficiency of this justice going out. The government has done that, not just plain lip service to judiciary, but it's done it in such a manner, quietly. The rules within that facility have been fixed up, and all the courts.
Somebody's calling us directly. You want us to pick that call?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay. Hello? Oh, call ended. All right, I'm sure the person will call back.
You know,
yes.
That's judiciary. And then to also make sure our judges are comfortable, live in a peaceful environment, serene area, fix up the judges' quarters, build modern mansionettes for the judges to stay, to live in. This is an excellent innovation that has happened in just 3.5 years.
Okay.
Now, the other reform, which is actually the one that I'm actually in love with, is the reform of the civil service. You are aware that the civil servants have not gone for training in at least 30 years.